Alrighty, gents. Now, October, I believe, or the end of October, could be gearing up to see a big move for our altcoins, guys. And I'm going to take you through exactly why. But before we do get into that, guys, you know I'm on my journey to 15k. So if you could already, please like the video and subscribe, because I'm going to bring you as much content as I can to make sure all of you guys are prepared. Now, guys, it's been a wild ride for Bitcoin. Okay, it's been a super wild ride, and I want all of you guys to pause the video and tell me what happened on this date here, January the 11th of 2024. Some of you may have got it right, some of you got it wrong, but that was the day that the first Bitcoin spot ETF went live, guys. And what happened after that? We saw extreme price appreciation, and if you want to go and measure the move, we actually are up 160% just for Bitcoin since the ETFs did go live. And you guys know we saw amazing inflows. We've seen some outflows as well, but generally there's been more inflows than outflows. Now, why is this important? It's because if you missed the live stream, you wouldn't have seen this. So make sure you got your post notices on so you don't miss the next live stream. We've got a bunch of ETF decisions coming up, starting from tomorrow with Litecoin, and then in about 10 days, we've got the Solana ETF decisions, guys. You've got Litecoin, Solana, Dogecoin, a bunch of XRP ETFs on here as well, and then Cardano at the end. And I do think this could be the catalyst that propels us for the last portion of the market. And many of you that have been here in many crypto cycles before know that the altcoins get moving, but they don't move for that long. They move for maybe a matter of months, and usually around 2 months at most in a straight vertical line. Okay, it's not usually a sustained move, and I do think these could be the catalyst to bring us the gains that we've been waiting for. So right now we're watching Bitcoin do its thing, we're watching a handful of other altcoins do their thing, and it's getting quite boring. A lot of us want to give up on our bags. So it's not long left, guys. It's not long left until we do reach this white line where we get a decision. And it's not guaranteed that we're going to get a positive decision. However, it would be a super top signal if we did start to get a bunch of these approved. And I don't expect every single ETF to get approved. There are going to be some that shake up the market because they fail, or the SEC doesn't approve them. However, I do think there is going to be quite a few that do get approved, which is going to shoot us up to our 358 billion target, and into the previous range high where a lot of us can be selling our altcoins that are up at that point. Now, while that sounds great, it sounds easy, it sounds like we're going to be making money and it's going to be everything up only season. Something to bear in mind is that after the Bitcoin ETF launch, we saw a dip, and that dip was actually around 17%. So a lot of people would have been shaken out of the market at this point, and they would have said, well, the ETF was meant to pump up the price, and all it did for a matter of 2 weeks was dump. But then what happened after we had that washout of everybody who thought that was the top signal right there at 47k, and we aren't getting any new all-time highs, they got shaken out, and then we went absolutely vertical for the next 49 days, so just over a month and a half. And I think this is what's going to be coming for our altcoins. Now, another thing that we all need to bear in mind, another scenario, we can call it like scenario C. We don't get the immediate pump, we don't get the immediate dump. We could have something happen like what happened to Ethereum, where we get a pretty bad dump, a consolidation, and then a retrace. When these ETF announcements come out, and when they do eventually get approved, we all need to be optimistic but cautious at the same time. Because if you just think we're going to go straight into the moon and there are going to be no pullbacks, there are going to be no well games, there's going to be no manipulation, they're not going to manipulate altcoins, which are a lot easier to manipulate than Bitcoin, to get even lower prices, then you'll be in for a big surprise. So I'm open to all possibilities. However, I do think that altcoins have been hammered. You've seen them against their Bitcoin pair, against their Ethereum pairs. They've been hammered. I don't really think that it needs to go that much lower for a lot of the top altcoins. I mean, when you're looking at things like XRP and ADA, I could understand why they'd want to drive this down first, right? Get some cheap XRP, maybe even Solana. we lose this trend line, get some cheap Solana, that would be a great bidding opportunity. We need to bear that in mind. It's going to be a big month for altcoins. It's going to be kind of like a make or break. I think going into November, maybe we get a flush at the end of October, which could be this fake out, this bear trap. And then into November, we get all the ETF inflows. Only time's going to tell, but I must say that these things, I mean, altcoins getting ETFs, for me, is ringing alarm bells. It is a top signal. I'm not going to be holding on like through into 2026. I'm going to be making sure that by Christmas, we've sold the majority of our bags. A lot of you guys are already telling me that October the 6th marked the absolute top. I don't really believe in that, but we'll see. Maybe you guys will be right. Who knows? But it's just a quick one to say, I mean, all of you guys kind of giving up at the end of the market. I do think there's a potential for some upside. I do think there's also potential for some well games as well. So you can let me know what you think in the comments. If you found anything in this video useful or informative, then subscribe to the channel. It helps me out more than you can imagine. Leave me a like and a comment on the video. And I'm going to be back with you guys tomorrow. Peace.